Well, hi friends. Long time no talk to you guys. I've been sick, way under the weather, probably the sickest I have been with a common cold virus in probably 20 years. Even COVID didn't hit me this hard. And I tested COVID several times and it wasn't it. Didn't really have true flu symptoms either. Um, my guess, it was viral bronchitis. I still have a lingering cough, and I guess it's to be expected. It's only been a week now. And I've also had laryngitis, and that comes and goes. So let's see if I can show you my hashtag JJ Madness Junk Journal November, hosted by Totally Love It. I will link her below. And the theme of this month is Roaring 20's. And you need to use 7 materials in 6 makes, and she does have a master list. Go check out her channel. She'll tell you all about it. And obviously I used a lot more than that, so I don't really need to point them out. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to be up to doing it. I will say one thing. I was sick when I did this, and I wasn't paying attention that my glue dried too quickly without adhering, grabbing on completely. And you can see the streaks in the vellum attachment because I had this little vellum button placket thing. And you loop it in a figure 8 to close it, but you can see. But it's okay. It is what it is. This is an envelope journal. It's 6 envelopes put together, and I'm gonna unroll it and show you page by page. So, we'll get out of here. And my dog wants to play underneath the chair. Don't hang on. Let's see if there's a toy under here. There is a toy under here. We are not playing tennis right now. Go take your ball. Go on. I'm not playing right now. So we have this little tidbit that came out of, most of this stuff came from front pages, 100 Years of the LA Times. I also had a Our Glorious Century, and I also had This Fabulous Century. Time Life books, Reader's Digest, newspapers, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's just unroll and just tell you this. I did it more of a timeline. This would have made a great high school project for history class. Not so much art journal as a summary of the century. So, Prohibition uncorks a spiral of exuberance, flappers, fast cars, and faster airplanes, jazz and tabloids, scandals and fads, Valentino and the Babe, then crash. So, 1920s is 1919 to 1929. They call it the unruly decade. And we had a lot of the social, they have a perceived threat of communism, fear and distrust of immigrants, fear of the labor movement and faith in business, and strikes and worker unrest. War just ended, and they wanted more money. And companies didn't want to pay the money. And we had the Boston police strike, the steel mill strike, coal miners strike. So we had a lot of striking, and then Taylor strike as well. All over the country, they wanted more money. This is probably the most disturbing fact that I'd seen in one of the history books. The Ku Klux Klan, 4.5 million members. This is just insane to me. Insane. Oh, we cannot forget this. History repeats itself. When I'm reading about this and all the tariffs and I'm like, okay, the labor unrest and the unions losing membership, and we got foreign tariffs, discord, world powers, misconduct in the cabinet. I'm just like, okay, history is repeating itself. I'm just, oh my goodness. And then the Emergency Quota Act of 21 limited to a maximum number of people who could enter the country from foreign countries. It's just amazing to me. Okay, on to happier parts. Okay, so I did a belly band here, and it's extra read all about it. King Tut's tomb was discovered this year. We have Babe Ruth, the Yankees versus the Red Sox. Let me pull this out. Got lots of pockets in this. Hollywood Scarlets help promote the mystique of Mahjong by playing a game in this Oriental finery. A deluxe set cost up to $500, more than a Model T Ford. And I got foreign paper here. Okay, this goes to the end of this, but because of all of the things I'm going to tell you about, it's what made the Great Depression start. The stocks, it dropped 16,410,000 shares a day. Basically, in this decade, the rich got richer. The top 1% increased 75% of their income. Poor got poorer. Yeah. They lived it up in the 20s, only to crash in the 30s. So, Pittsburgh was the first commercial radio station, went on air November 2nd, 1920. It was owned by Westinghouse. In 1922, 500 radio stations were in operation. In 24, over 3 million radios were used throughout the United States. By the end of the 20s, over 10 million radios were in use. Popular radio shows include Amos and Andy and Jones and Hare. Some cute slang expressions: a crush, gate crasher, keen, ritzy, scram, screwy, and bee's knees. We have all heard of these. New forms of entertainment. Movies become a national pastime. Radio is a prime source of news and entertainment. And America celebrates sports heroes. We got some songs that were popular. Charlie Chaplin, one of his hits was In the Gold Rush. And then The Hunchback of Notre Dame was another movie. Okay, I have a waterfall here. And these were business cards that you had to, whoops, we came unglued. Guess I should have looked at this before I started showing. Business cards to get into the clubs that had illegal liquor, since Prohibition was started and you could not buy liquor. And let's see. Oh my goodness gracious. What glued to something? Something glued to something. Okay, a lady bootlegger could carry a full gallon of each of these these copper bloomers. More discreet, a book-shaped flask held a generous nip. So you see these big giant things on her hips. Yeah, and then she'd have a coat over it. And look at this. We have little Nazi symbols in the floors here. And here's a flappers and another bootleg establishment. Mother makes brandy from cherries. Pop distills whiskey and gin. Sister sells wine from the grapes on her vine. Good grief, how the money rolls in. I'll put this all back together. Obviously, I'm going to be fixing that. I had cut everything out, and when I was feeling a little bit better yesterday, I glued it all together. And unfortunately, my glue did not dry all the way. Technology and industry, growth of automotive industry, introduction of airlines as transportation, widespread use of electricity, and advertising gains in popularity. See a lot of things about planes and a lot of advertising. And we have Maxwell House and Good to the Last Drop, that's been around for a while, and Coca-Cola, the pause that refreshes. A ton of cigarette ads. I'll tell the world they satisfy, Chesterfield cigarettes, and the blend can't be copied. I'd walk a mile for a camel, but a miss is as good as a mile. Selling them to both women and men. Equal opportunity advertising here. Here's some more advertising. Lucky Lindy, Boeing, Standard Airlines, an article about circling the Arctic. Trip takes 15 hours. Let's see. Okay, Al Capone. By age 26, Al Capone headed a criminal empire in Chicago, which he controlled through the use of bribes and violence. From 25 to 31, Capone bootlegged whiskey from Canada, operated illegal breweries in Chicago, and ran a network of 10,000 speakeasies. In 1927, the big fellow, as he was like to be called, was worth an estimated $100 million. This end came quickly for Capone, though. In 1931, the gangster chief was arrested for tax evasion and went to jail. It was the only crime which the authorities were ever able to convict him. Capone was later released from jail, but he died several years later at age 48. And I did visit Alcatraz because this is where he was housed. And it was really interesting. Prisoners were moved from cell to cell throughout their time at the Rock. Al Capone was no exception, and during his time at Alcatraz from 34 to 38, he spent in various cells, including a short stint on D Block, isolation following a fistfight with another inmate. He was eventually transferred to a medical prison facility in Southern California. So, yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I have a vellum window here, and his photo behind jail bars. And here is an article in the New York Times. An artist had drew up the machine guns. And here's the ticket to get to Alcatraz. And problems of urbanization. Industrialization leads to growth of big cities. African Americans continue to move north. Cities struggled with prohibition and organized crime. And then we have a police that are breaking up a distillery. And we've got a crime figure there. And then economic, a superficial prosperity ensued, increased production of consumer goods, buying on credit, increased standard of living and consumer spending. And Route 66, the famous route from Chicago to LA, was being built. Gas was 25 cents a gallon. American consumers in the 20s could purchase the latest household electrical appliances, such as a refrigerator, for as little as $1 a day, $1 down, and $1 a week. Just crazy. In 1920, there was 515 Piggly Wigglies. By 1929, there was 2,500. And this went all the Woolworths and, all the big stores. They just, it was crazy, the implosion. Okay, I have a zigzag pocket here, hidden paper clip. And we have some well-known mobsters from the Prohibition. We have William Klondike Odell and Big Jim Colosimo, Little Jaime Weiss, Dion O'Bannon, Pollock, Joe Saltines, George Bugs Moran, Johnny Torino, Machine Gun Jack McGurran. He was on the mastermind on the Valentine's Day Massacre. And then I have some bookmarks, some tags here. And extra, got some journaling spaces and Stop the Presses and some bootleg liquor. And then Greta Garbo inspired such devotion that her fans were called the Garmaniacs. There was women's attitudes in fashion. Changing attitudes towards women allowed them greater freedoms. Americans adopt radical new fashions and styles, and traditional and modern ideals collide. So this is all that was going on in the 20s. It was a lot. Oh, and one last page to talk about, and this was an important part. Harlem Renaissance flourishes. So this is where Harlem turns into a predominantly black neighborhood. You see this whole entire place. And in the mid-20s, the Cotton Club was one of the number of fashionable entertainment clubs in Harlem. Although many venues like the Cotton Club were segregated, white audiences packed the clubs to hear the new music styles of black performers such as Duke Ellington and Bessie Smith. And here is Bessie Smith. And hang on, what did I say? This neighborhood, just like all the other up-and-coming neighborhoods, it suffered from overcrowding, unemployment. But we had the jazz movement and the literacy movement, and there's so much romanticism about the area that people didn't realize how bad the economy really was getting, and the living conditions, and how overextended everybody was. So, and that led to the stock market crash. So while I knew all this stuff, it's been a long time since I studied history, and it was fun. It was very fun to review this. And while this isn't my traditional art journal, I'm really glad I did it. And this is my first envelope journal, and it was fun. And it all flips together, and it all fits, and it all wraps up together, and I'll put all my little papers back in, and I hope to share this with a young person sometime and let them know history will repeat itself if we do not learn from it. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you could hear me okay, since I've got the world's worst cough and laryngitis still, but I'm alive, and hopefully I can continue working on this week after work my Poe journal, which will be a little bit more artsy than this, and I will come back with you. I think I'll have it tomorrow. I should have a shopping video, just something I got in the mail. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.